Hi everyone, it's Lesley Oman from Hungry Heavy Crafts, and today I'm playing with my new toy, my watercolors. These are the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. And because I'm using watercolors, I'm going to be using my Tim Holtz Distressed watercolor cardstock for this. And I'm also going to be using a stamp set that I picked up from my holidays in Glasgow. And these are from Paper Chase. It's called the Word Pop stamp set. And I really love this little diamond here. And I'm going to be making an engagement ring or an engagement card today. And I'm using this diamond to build up an image of an engagement ring. So I'm going to actually stamp and emboss the diamond ring. So I have prepped my surface with my powder tool. And now I'm going to stamp that in the Versamark clear embossing ink. And then I'll sprinkle over some Ranger liquid platinum embossing powder. This is such a beautiful embossing powder. It isn't quite silver, isn't quite gold, it's just pure delightful. Now to make the actual ring, that bit that goes around your finger, I've pulled out some circle stamps. This is a stamp set called Monogram-O-Rama from Scrappy Cat, and I've decided to go for the solid ring, the solid circle, should I say. But first, let's mask off my diamond with some masking tape or a post-it tape, and then I can stamp over the top. And that means that the diamond is actually embedded into the ring, and it gives a more polished result. Let's add some embossing powder on this now too. But whoops, I forgot to prep the surface again. So I'm taking a dry paintbrush to brush away any stray crystals or of the powder that's still there. Here we have the embossed image. I think it looks really pretty. And now I can move over to my little wooden paddle here so that I can do some watercoloring. I'm taping the whole cardstock down to this board so that it minimizes the warping caused by the water. I'm prepping the surface with a large flat brush and just some clean water. And now I get to play with my watercolors. This is my first time playing with them. So far, I think they are really fun. The colors are really pigmented, so you really don't need an awful lot of the color to get a real rich result. I'm using a cheap palette here so that I can mix the colors. I've mixed a little bit of the red color with some white to get this lighter color pink. It's really easy to mix, so I'm really happy with them so far. To apply the paint to the card, I'm using a cheap round brush. I think this is one of the seconds that I picked up at an art shop for discounted price. I'm not doing anything too fancy, so I don't need to spend a lot of money on that, which is great. I'm simply picking up some of the colour and tapping it on. I'm not really brushing it just now, I'm just tapping it. I decided to go back in with a little bit of a purple colour, and I'm going to actually tap the paintbrush from a height to get some splatters onto there. Because the watercolour is really quite wet, it gives a really nice blended, really cool texture feel, which I'm really pleased with. For the greeting, I'm adding this congratulations stamp, which is from the same stamp set. So I'm going to leave my watercolour panel aside to dry, and I will do the greeting. I want it to be exactly the same colour of cardstock, so once again I'm using the Distress watercolour cardstock to stamp this, and this time I'm embossing with some black ultra fine embossing powder from Hero Arts. This is what it looks like. I've fussy cut this greeting and I'm going to stick it onto the card, but now that this is dry, I'm going to actually run it through my Cuttlebug using my stitched rectangles dies. I'm sure you can know from my videos that these are my favourite dies. I'm using some post-it tape to hold that in place so it doesn't wobble around when I put it through my Cuttlebug. And I decided actually to use the largest rectangle from the small stitch rectangles that I said, and this gives a really pretty frame effect to the final card. And I'm actually going to pop up the middle panel using some craft foam. So I'm going to run some funky foam or craft foam through my Cuttlebug, and the middle panel will be mounted onto that. So now it's time to assemble the card. I'm going to take a card blank and use my ATG gun to run around the outside with some adhesive, and I'll stick the frame on first of all. And the ATG is a really strong adhesive, so I think it works very well for this. Let's mount this middle panel, the watercolor piece, onto the foam. And before I stick it onto the card blank, I actually noticed there's a little piece of foam sticking out the side. Sometimes the foam can get a little bit misshapen when you run it through the machine, so just be careful of that. And then I can stick it on here. The card blank I used was a little bit bigger, so I trimmed that off, and then I can simply stick on the grating using some foam pads on the middle and a little bit of glue pen on either side, and that gives a little bit more dimension. It looks like the grating is actually curved around the ring. So there you have it. It's my first play with this watercolor set, and I love the way the pink and the purple blend together. I think it gives a really pretty soft finish to the card. Thanks for watching, and please do give me a thumbs up if you liked the video today, and hop on over to Hungry Happy Crafts for more crafty goodness. Have a great day!